Hello everybody and welcome to the entertainment headquarters and welcome to another review. And this review is coming courtesy from Hire the Martial Art channel. That's right, I'm dedicating the entertainment headquarters to a week's worth of Hire the Martial Art channel film reviews. And this is the second one I'm doing. So for those that don't know what Hire is, it is a USA for now only streaming service that brings you the best, current mixed martial art movies and action movies from other countries around the world. And you know what, they're doing an amazing job. They do have a number of higher original movies and television shows, as well as distributing a lot of content from WeGo USA, which WeGo USA is basically the main distributor for foreign action and mixed martial art content in the USA. Now, me being from the UK and it being a USA only streaming service, I have the courtesy of using my VPN, which is, I get through having me Norton virus checker on my laptop and computer. So I basically activate my VPN. I then go to, change my location to the good old US of A. I then go onto the Hire website, subscribe, and crack on and watch all of the amazing content available on that streaming service. So it's easily done, and guess what? Hire subscription is only $3.99. $3.99. So imagine in UK money, you're not going to break the bank with the subscription to Hire the Martial Arts channel. And speaking of Hire the Martial Arts channel, the next film that we're going to be looking at is none other than The Forbidden City. Vengeance is her destiny. Now, this film for me was a really fun film. It's a mixture of a martial arts action film on top of being a drama. There's a lot of drama in this and a lot of character building around the different events and the plot throughout the course of this movie. Now, this film is a co-production between China and Italy, so that was nice to see these two production companies from two different lands coming together to create quite a strong film. So The Forbidden City, this film was directed by Gabriele Mainetti. He's also one of the writers. It stars Enrico Borello. It stars Yaxi Liu and Marco Giallini. So they're your cast members, and the story goes, the son of an in-debt restaurant owner joins a foreign girl. He looks for his father. She is searching for her sister. Together they fight side by side against the most ruthless members of the Roman criminal underworld. So that is, the gist of this plot. But the main character and the main focus is on the character that Yaxi Liu plays, which is me. And this is me. So the film basically starts off back in China. And so it's during the time where basically in China they had a one-child policy. The population in China had become so strong, so, I guess, overflowed, that the government put in a one-child, policy. In the beginning of this movie, you see this sequence of events where May and her sister, who I think was called Yun, yes, Yun and May, yes. So it's in 1995. Yun and May are doing mixed martial arts training with their father at their front porch in their beautiful home in China, when suddenly somebody's arriving with a package, and obviously he's overlooking everything. And the mother of Yun and Mei takes Yun and puts her into the cupboard and hides her away, so the person delivering this package doesn't witness her practicing mixed martial arts with her twin sister. And then that's in 1995. It then skips forward to now you're seeing a grown-up Mei arriving in Italy, and she's now going to this restaurant called the Forbidden City, where underneath it there's a lot of criminal activities going on. There's drugs, there's prostitution, and she basically goes to this restaurant in undercover and pretends she's she arrives on this truck where you've got the Chinese triads, which have now got a massive influx and are kind of taken over part of the Italy underworld. They're importing illegal immigrants to and human trafficking, and basically she's disguised herself and went undercover to get into Italy as one of these girls that's been human trafficked, to then go into the brothel part of this Chinese triad's business to then find her sister Yun. In the first half of this movie, or the first 20 minutes of this movie, it's just balls to the wall, action packed. You see her arrive in the brothel. She confronts the owners, or the people who are operating the brothel for the main triad crime lord, who's called Wang. And basically, she kicks every fucker's arse. She literally, just the sheer brilliance in the cinematography in the first 20 minutes of this movie was just unparalleled to anything I've seen in quite some time. The last time I seen these kind of action sequences was in the likes of John Wick. And basically it was brilliant how, and some of it was done in one shot. So you had a sequence where she's in the kitchen and you've got 10 you've got 10 people around her, and because the brothel's hidden at the back of a restaurant, the Forbidden City, and basically you've got these guys going after her as she's seeking information about where her sister Yun is, and they start attacking her, and you've just got this camera shot going around if I just go around just kicking the living shit out of these men. And she hides plates at them, she kung fu chops them, or karate kicks them. She's like kicking the living shit out of these people, and she leaves the restaurant with no answers. And this is the sequence where basically she just knocks the shit out of some guy when she's trying to walk through the brothel to escape, and literally knocks the shit out of these guys. So she leaves the brothel with no answers, and then it skips to this guy whose father has went missing, who is an Italian restaurant chef. He's a chef in his father's owned Italian restaurant, and basically somehow there's a connection between Yun and this guy's father, called Frederico. So Frederico is his father, Yun is Mei's sister, and there's a connection between both of them, and the father and Yun have both vanished. So Mei then goes to the restaurant to seek information and basically threatens Marcello. This guy's called Marcello, and threatens Marcello, like, where's my sister? Where's my sister gone? And basically she kicks the shit out of Marcello for no reason other than she thinks he's involved with the kidnapping of her sister. And at the same time, his father, Frederico, has gone missing. And this is where you get another character involved, which is this guy. Now, this guy is a Italian crime boss. So he has a deal, or is in business with the Chinese triads. And after Marcello is beaten up by Mei, he assumes that the leader of the Chinese triad Wang has sent this lady for some reason to threaten, to extort money, whatever you can think of, out of Marcelo. But obviously she is looking for her sister, and this guy, who is Marcelo's father's best friend, then goes to Mr. Wang and wants to know what the hell's going on. And this is where things fall apart, because Annabelle, I believe that's what he called, Annabelle. So Annabelle is this guy, this is Wang. So Annabelle, who is Federico's best friend, co-owner of the restaurant, and also the main Italian, I guess, gangster in Rome, is in partnership with Mr. Wang. So he believes that Mr. Wang is doing some sort of, push to, get more territory from the Italian gangsters for the Chinese triads. So basically these events could potentially start off a blood war between the Italian gangs and the Chinese triads. And the plot from that point forward, there's so many twists and turns between characters. Marcelo, he then, goes into his own mission, and he joins forces in the end with me. So it goes from right at the beginning of being a kind of search and rescue storyline of these two characters who didn't know each other, that are now joined together to find out the reasons why Federico, his father, and why Yun, her sister, have disappeared. And they get some answers at midpoint of this movie, and the answers that they get are devastating. And then the film turns from being a search and rescue movie to then becoming a revenge and justice story. And Mr. Wang is a fantastic villain. The character of Garibal, he himself is also a fantastic villain. He's your stereotypical Italian sleazebag, racist, insensitive, selfish individual. Where Mr. Wang, he is just power hungry. He wants to extend the reach of the triad, Grap in Italy, in Rome. And Garibal is basically wanting to take over, everything that Federico has built. And he's also very good at manipulating people. So you have two very strong villains, and you have two really nice, believable protagonists in Marcelo and May. And this plot has so many twists and turns. You see a mixture of flashbacks, and even when you get a handful of flashbacks, you think you've got the story or the events that's transpired about Yun and Federico solved, but then you get thrown a loop and you go through a different direction, and then you don't actually know what's happened. So it's very good at doing the mixed martial arts at the beginning, and then the second quarter of the movie is the drama and the mystery and the resolve. And then the third chapter, the third part of the movie, is all-out war between Mr. Wang and me, and then you've got a confrontation between Marcelo and Garibal by the end. And right in the middle of all of this, you also have, you have some great cinematography in terms of the lighting, the costuming, the overall aesthetic of the place. It was filmed, I'm assuming, in partly Rome, and part of it was filmed what felt like in China, but I don't know if they just built the sets to make them look like China, because it is a co-production between Italy and China. And for example, inside, the Forbidden City restaurant, just the sheer colours of light in the red and the Chinese, interior was just really well done, and really made you feel like you were in this real place, which then becomes like a war zone, and felt like a battle zone. And, it was just fantastic. And each of the characters brought really well, put together. And the story itself is a strong story. Like I say, it's a mixed martial arts movie with action, but it's also a drama. And I enjoyed the plot, enjoyed the characters, enjoyed the majority of the movie. But my issue with this movie, and I have one issue, is that I think it's far too long for the movie in the story of what they're trying to tell. Because it starts off with such a massive bang of an action movie, mixed martial arts movie. And then they get past that amazing beginning in the kitchen in the brothel, and her getting off the truck, coming in is like this, human traffic lady, to then looking for her sister Young, to then this massive action sequence in the Forbidden City restaurant, to then we're going to the other side to Marcelo and Garibaldi, and they're him being his dad's best friend, and him trying to manipulate him, to then trying to seduce his own mother, Marcelo's mother, who's kind of grieving her father. And then you see the introduction of me and Marcelo and how they are trying to figure things out. And I just felt as if that was just prolonged far too long. They stretched it out as far as they could, and it just felt overstretched. All of the questions and all of the new questions, and then trying to resolve it all. I think it could have been done a lot faster, a lot easier for you to get to more action by the film's end. I just feel as if it was overstretched, the drama part, or just trying to overstretch the mystery and the problem solving, and the twists and the turns and the reveals. I think should have come a lot sooner than they actually do throughout the course of the film. But you cannot fault this movie for the action and, the fight sequences. And the actress who plays May, she apparently is a Chinese stunt woman and stunt coordinator, and by God, you can tell, because the skills this woman has is just unbelievable. And like I say, you have that amazing kitchen sequence right at the beginning of the film, and it's like a one-shot sequence, then it'll split, and then it'll go back to another shot of her just in fight mode, fighting for her life, and there'll be 3 or 4 people coming at her all at the same time, and she literally goes balls to the walls to kick their ass, and she does a fantastic job doing it. And I really, really literally was just suckered in by her performance. Now, her name, I say, was Yaxi Liu. So Yaxi Liu, literally for me, is one to watch. Now, I've never seen her in anything else before. I've never heard of her name before. But generally speaking, she for me reminds me of a young, fresh, Lucy Liu or a Michelle Yeoh. Because obviously before this Yaxi Liu, you had Michelle Yeoh, who for many, many years in China was dominating as their main mixed martial arts action female star before she kind of got mainstream and before she hit big Hollywood and was doing these award-winning movies. She was an action star. Then she wanted to go beyond an action star to be considered and respected as a real talented actress, which has achieved her goals, and she's an Oscar winner. But this Yaxi Liu, I generally think she is filling or could have, because like I said, first time seeing her in a movie, I generally feel like she could fill that gap that's been missing for a long time of a really strong female talented protagonist. And we need somebody like, Michelle Yeoh. We need a new Lucy Liu, because I loved Lucy Liu when she, when she first hit the scene. She was doing amazing, movies, and she did a few action films, and we all know her from what you call it, Charlie's Angels movies, and of course Kill Bill. fantastic in Kill Bill. But yeah, we need a new female protagonist, mixed martial arts star. And like I say, first time seeing her in a movie, and I think she did a fantastic job. And one other thing with this film being a co-production between China and Italy, I think the director did a fantastic job coordinating it all, like coordinating the production, because she speaks Chinese. You know, this film does, you know, it is in Italian, I think, for the most part, with English subtitles. And the fact that he was able to, you know, coordinate and bring it all together and fully make it work is just a testament of how talented this director is, Gabriele Mainetti. I just think he was fantastic. And I think Forbidden City, like I said, is a strong film. The start alone just blew me away. The rest of the movie, it is a bit of a slow burn. I think you know, they focused a lot more on the drama for the middle part of this film, but it has a tremendous ending with some action sequences, and it's good to see justice served in the most painful way possible. So with that said, I'm gonna give the Forbidden City, despite, you know, some of the weaknesses I feel, I'm gonna give this a 8 out of 10 because it's definitely worthy of a watch. And like I say, if you're in the good old US of A, please get yourself on Higher, the Mixed Martial Arts channel. Subscribe to it. It's worth a watch. There's some amazing mixed martial arts movies and content on there. Action films, some great samurai films. There's a load of great stuff. And if you're watching from the UK or any other part of the world, get yourself, you know, a VPN, change your location to the good old US of A, and then get yourself on the Higher website, subscribe and get watching, because you will not be disappointed. But yes, 8 out of 10 for the Forbidden Kingdom. No, sorry, the Forbidden City. Get the title right, Kevin. The Forbidden City gets 8 out of 10. But as always, keep enjoying your movies, keep enjoying all things entertainment, and I'll catch us all the next one. Thank you.